というわけで続きやっていきます。レイチェルさんも自転車に乗って逃げ出して、ジョセフも親父と喧嘩したけど言いたいこと言えないみたいな。結局先に亡くなってしまったので悲しいですね、本当に。何か一つぐらいいいことがあってもいいのね。
Usually what catches people's attention of the first tree is the visuals, of course. And I was inspired by a lot of people making these levels. The second level is inspired by just these beautiful autumn photos of a real forest. And this level, the Jade Valley, is inspired by the artwork of Heather Penn, who did the Overland games. I just love those greens with a lot of gray in it. I love the strong vignettes in the corners of the frame. And of course, this environment pack was made by the very talented Swedish designer Mikael Gustafsson. And of course, his initial designs inspired me, and I was able to build off of that. And I'm really grateful that he allowed his environment pack to be made publicly available.
結構話進めましたが、どうですかね。なんかキツネの家族的なものは2人いなくなってるっていうのはわかるんですけど、この後展開的にどうなんだろうな。家がある。
By now you've probably caught on to some of the themes
I
I'd
love
love to explore in these stories. And the big one is of this tree, the first tree on Earth. And a lot of people have asked me, what does that mean? Why a tree? And basically it boils down to this delicate balance between nature and its relationship with life and death. And I love these stories where they put like these microscopic relationships, like something of like a father and a son, and juxtapose it next to this epic story of like the creation of the universe and the first tree on Earth, and how they can be equally as important, because in my mind, like, my family is as important as like the creation of the earth. And it reminds me of like some of the stories I love, like The Road by Cormac McCarthy, or The Tree of Life by Terrence Malick. Basically, I wanted to make sure the player felt that there was a higher power than themselves, and that there was something watching over them as they went through this story.
すごいなんかここだけすごいゴール感あるけど、ゴールではないのかな。ゴールではないね。どこ行けばいいの？この山越えればいいかな。なんか光ってるとこもないしね。あ、なんか向こう光ってんね、ちょっと。あっち光ってる。もしかして見逃した？でも道違うよね。なんか意外と人間味が溢れるものが増えましたね。家とかもそうだけど、刈られた木とかもありましたからね。いやー、向こうのあれ通らないといけないやつ落ちそうだな。 っちから取るか。なんかジャンプして取る系多いよな。落ちちゃうよね、やっぱ。よっ。で、こっちも、オッケーオッケーオッケー。お、来ました、目印。
Was that the last time you talked to him?
No, I called on holidays, and he would call on my birthday. I guess we acted like nothing ever happened, which was stupid. Didn't want to ask about his lumberyard, and I'm sure he didn't want to ask about my job search. I never went back and visited. I think the last conversation we had was about what movies we had seen and what exactly a best boy is in the credits. I thought he would be here so much longer.
意外と長く生きると思っていたけど、そうではなかったってことなんですね。あ、狼いる。
In the distance, the first
そ
tree
して我が子が
illuminated the wasteland. She couldn't go home anymore. She did the only thing she was capable of. Moving forward. My dad died alone in the middle of the wilderness. I should have been talking to him more. I should have done a lot of things differently.
If the first tree on Earth brought life with it, if it taught the birds to sing and fly and showed saplings how to grow,
これがファーストツリーなのか？
Obviously, there's a really emotional part, but I'm going to talk through it anyway. A lot of people correctly identify that Journey was like a huge inspiration for the first tree. And this part, it is like a callback to that part where you're climbing up the mountain with your friend you don't know, and it just gets snowier and snowier, and you just keep going, and then eventually you collapse. And that part, that made a huge impact on me. And I don't even own a PlayStation 3 or 4. I rented a PlayStation from like a rent-a-center right after completing Home is Where One Starts, just because I'd heard so much about it. And everyone was right, it was a very impactful game, and it definitely inspired the first tree. There was a letter I received yesterday from a name I didn't recognize, with a quote I can't stop thinking about. Death is not the opposite of life, but a part of it. More and more, I'm realizing one important truth. Each of us have our own journey to the first tree. But sometimes I'm not sure I'm ready to take that first step.
you already have my love.
ってことはこれがファーストツリーということですね。どこまで行けばいいんだろう。あ、止まった。最初の木は目を覚まし、子供たちに最後にもう一度だけ伝えたいメッセージがあるかを狐に優しく尋ねる。彼女はこう答える。あなたの答えをここに入力してください。どういうこと？入力するの？いやー、難しいよね。子供たちに最後にもう一度だけ伝えたいメッセージがあるかを狐に優しく尋ねる。いやー、これはもうさ、なんていうかあれだよね。これしかないよね。今までありがとう。 夢落ちであってくれ、マジで。
I guess her journey was over. But I have
あ
no
あ、
idea.
結局はただの
It's
夢。
only a dream.
いやいやいやいや、もう
Distraction
全部夢でいい。
from tomorrow.
頼むよ。
I don't think dreams normally bring back to memory so many important feelings. Maybe it was just a dream, but it was also a gift.
Yeah, I suppose. But tomorrow we're getting on a plane to the last place on Earth I want to be.
ジョセフ、重い。
The only person that would
ジ
make
ョ
the
セ
trip
フ。
worth it is gone.
You're going to see him and be with him one last time before you say goodbye. I have one last
世
quote
界
for
の
you
秘
by
密とは、
Emerson.
すべてのものは死のでなく、
Sealed in an imaginary letter
視野から一時的に退き、また後ほど
It
戻
is
っ
the
てくる
secret
とい
of
うこと
the
だ。
world that all things subsist and do not die. But
す
only
ごいね。
retire
さあ
a
もう
little
寝
from
ましょう。明
sight
日はとて
and
も大事な日。
afterward return
でも
again.
私がずっとそばで支えていくから。
Go to sleep, my love. We have a big day tomorrow, but I'll be there with you every step of the way.
ちゃんと支えてくれる人がいてよかったよね、
Thanks
ほ
for
んと。
listening. Good night, Rachel.
Good night, Joseph.
6ヶ月後。何？ジョセフ視点だと？これレイチェルですよ。じゃあちょっと出てみたいと思うんですけど、一回この辺で、あ、びっくりした。これジョセフかな。この辺で一回カットしようと思ったのに、じゃあちょっと一回カットします。じゃあジョセフ視点やっていきましょう。これは電気はつけられない。これ出られる？お、開いた。
You're probably thinking, what is going on? And that was definitely my intention for this epilogue part of the first tree.
どこ行きゃいいんだ
This
これ。
is my favorite part. This is the part I'm most proud of. And it definitely, like, it's supposed to evoke this, like, what is going on? Where am I? I was not expecting this. When I was marketing and blogging about making the game, I never showed anyone this part. I never told anyone. I never shared screenshots. I wanted it to be a complete surprise. And I also wanted it to feel a little creepy because
外に
it's
行ける
totally
のか。
inspired by those nights where you wake up in the middle of the night and you can just hear the sounds of the wind outside the house and you can't sleep. So you walk around in this like twilight stupor. And I would say the whole first part of this game where you play as the fox, its whole purpose is to set up for this conclusion. So yeah, I would encourage you to look around and see how many things you recognize from the earlier part of the game. I tried hard to foreshadow this epilogue just because I wanted it to be a surprise, but I didn't want it to feel too out of place that it would be humorous. And so Joseph, earlier in the game, he would say things like, I felt like I was right behind the fox the whole time. In my mind, the camera perspective acts as a
通れないのか、こ
metaphor
れ。
for who the player is, what they're seeing, if the camera represents Joseph, or just like that video game trope of having the camera follow you. I guess the big question I wanted the player to ask themselves, is this a dream as well? And if so, does that even matter?
あ、いけない。家から出るのは間違いだったのかな。そんなことないよね。なんか鳴き声をする。 いけないんだけど。音が近くなってる。あれ遠くなった。ちょっとインターホンが鳴って止まってました。さて、キツネ鳴き声するけど全然どこにいるか分かんないね。こっちか。コンコンコンコン。お、でもさっきここ行けなかったよね。行けないよね。あれ、どこ行けばいいんだろう。もう一回戻るか。向こうになんかあるのは見えるんだけど、行き方がわからないな。とりあえず家戻ってみるか。何か変化があるかもしれないから。あ、ここ開かないんだ。ここ開かないのかい。よし。なんかここだけ見るとホラーゲームみたいだよね。開かないね。すごい狐の絵画がある。部屋関係ないのかな。
You're probably thinking, what is going on? And that was definitely my intention for this epilogue part of the first tree. This is my favorite part. This is the part I'm most proud of. And it definitely, like, it's supposed to evoke this, like, what is going on? Where am I? I was not
綺
expecting
麗な景
this.
色ですね。
When I was marketing and blogging about making the game,
いや、
I
ど
never
こ進めばいいんだ
showed
ろう。
anyone this part. I never told anyone. I never shared
登
screenshots.
れんのかな。
I wanted it to be a complete surprise.
お、登れる
And
登
I
れる。
also wanted it to feel a little creepy because it's totally inspired by those nights where you wake up in the middle of
あ、
the
でも
night
渡れないんだこっ
and
ち
you
はね。
just hear the sound of the wind outside the house and you can't sleep. So you walk around in this like twilight stupor. And I would say the whole first part of this game where you play as the fox, its whole purpose is to set up for this conclusion. So yeah, I would encourage you to look around and see how many things you recognize from the earlier part of the game.
あ、ここから行けない。ちゃんと柵がある。お、何これ。なんかキャンプマーク出てきたよ。キャンプマーク。どうすればいいのキャンプマーク。What? どういうこと。どこどこ。なんでここにキャンプマークが出てきたんだろう。クソ、でも行ってない場所あるかもしれないからちょっと回ろう。ここ行けないけど、これ登ったりしたらなんかいるかもしれないしね。 むずっ。操作むずっ。いけないのか、もしや。キャンプ。お、クリックしたら入れた。あれ、勝手に動く。ここに誰か住んでたんですかね。お、一体なんだ。おお、イベントが進んだ。キツネ。あ、通れるようになってる。わあわあ、待って待って。お、なんかある。
I purposefully fade out the crosshair in the middle of the screen because I wanted it to be a direct callback to the camera following the fox in the first 5 levels of the first tree. I wanted it to go for that gut reaction that this was very familiar yet totally in a different world.
いやー、ちゃんと探索してよかった。なんかさっき端っこに行ったらキャンプのマーク出たからもう一回見ようかなと思ったら、でもあれノーヒントは分からんな。キツネに導かれてどこに行くんですかね。わあ、綺麗。レイチェル、置き去りだけど大丈夫かな。わあ、綺麗。待って待って。全然追いつけない。最近外出れないからこの森とか見るとテンション上がりますね。なんか始まった歌が。すごい近づいてきた。この微妙に届きそうで届かない。あ、この木はもしかしてザ・ファーストツリーの何なんだ。この木見覚えがあるぞ。
Thank you for making it to the end of my game, and I hope you enjoy the personalized message that is featured on the trunk of this tree. It's a message submitted by another player that's retrieved from a database, and it's retrieved at random. And I did this because I wanted people, even if they feel alone through trials of death, that there is a community, an invisible community supporting each other. So thanks for playing.
お、これでムービーに入るってことはエンディングですか。ザ・ファーストツリー。 いやーでもなんかね、深い話でしたね。ちょっとなんか年がいもなくうるっときてしまった。少しこのボイスもミュージックもすごい良かったね。ちょっとところどころ音量大きいかなっていうところはあったけど、やっぱそういう演出ですもんね。いやー感動したな。いやー楽しかったですね。じゃあここら辺で終わりにしますかね。ご視聴ありがとうございました。それではまた。